Hey, what's up guys? It's Drew here. Quick video blog. I want to give a video blog about Trump University because I'm seeing a lot of misinformation online and a lot of people are getting this whole entire thing wrong. As a person who's a partner in a business and as a person who has, done many businesses, I understand that, you can have a situation where you're in a civil suit because customers don't feel happy about the service that was provided to them. They could sign whatever, they could sign contracts, they can digitally sign things, and they still won't feel happy about what they received. So all it takes is like the right government agency or the right institution to come along and say, hey, do you guys want to get something out of a class action lawsuit? And then, even customers that reported that they were happy with you or that gave you great reviews will be like, sure, because it's free money. Why wouldn't they take it? So I'm not necessarily saying this happened in Trump University, but it's very possible that it did in that case. Okay, he provided real estate courses, learning courses and whatnot. And what's funny to me is that, people protested and say that it was fraud, but they won't go protest the worthless liberal arts degree that they have not been able to apply to the real world and left them, hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt that they can't pay off. They won't go protest that, but they'll be glad. They won't go protest that as fraud, but they'll be glad to say that Trump University was a fraud. That's nonsense, okay? Anybody knows that when you take courses like real estate courses, or when you take a financial course, like say you get your Series 7, your Series 63 or whatever, any course that you take that's educational and that's meant to kind of, move you forward with knowledge, you have to work with it too. You can't just like expect that after you take the course, you're going to become a billionaire real estate mogul like Donald Trump. You know what I mean? And if those people honestly say that they fell for that kind of advertising, or they fell for that, they're either lying or they're stupid. You know what I mean? And you can't, it's just ridiculous. So people are saying that because he settled for 25 million, that it's evidence of fraud or it's evidence of guilt. No, a settlement is not evidence of guilt. And in fact, most cases in business, most civil cases do not go to trial because nobody has the time to really go to trial for the most part. And it'd be like a waste of time, especially for somebody that is worth as much as Donald Trump. For somebody who makes, $500,000 a day, it would be a waste of his time to go and actually get into court and go back and forth on this. Now, he has a personal sentiment where he doesn't like to settle, but you got to put yourself in his position. He just became president of the United States. I mean, what is he going to do? He's going to be wrapped up in court over Trump University, or is he going to pay out a $25 million settlement that's not even 1% of what his net worth is? I think the settlement choice was a smart choice for him. And not only that, it was a selfless choice for him because he's going to get to focus on being president for the rest of us. So I think it was a good choice. And I also think it was evident of his selflessness to do that. You know what I mean? So if people act like, oh no, he had to settle. No, he didn't have to settle. He chose to settle. He didn't have to settle. He chose to settle. Liberals like to misconstrue everything. And you guys, I know you guys like to keep an open mind because you watch my channel. And my channel is not for people who are liberally biased. But anybody who has owned a business or a small business or a big enough name to the point where they can attract a lawsuit, or they've done enough business with the public to the point where they can attract a lawsuit or attract the attention of the BBB or any one of these like institutions that will, launch lawsuits against you or take you to court, knows that this can happen to anybody. This can happen to anybody. Go on, if you trade stock at all, go on E-Trade and go on any one of the company profiles that are outlined for any company, any major company out there, and you'll see a list on the updates like breaking news for the companies. Any company you look at, you'll see that there's like pending lawsuits against them by patent trolls, by lawsuit and litigation trolls, by people just that just launch lawsuits because they're trying to get money out of companies. There are people who do that. There's people who walk around to companies and they check to see if the door is a certain height, or they check to see if there's ice on the concrete so that they can sue. One of the first things I learned when I read business books is that we live in a litigious society. And the reason why it's important to have corporate structures is so that you yourself can be protected from a litigious society, from a society that is always looking to sue or looking to receive damages for something that they feel that something that they feel has negatively impacted them or inflicted them. So this is common, especially for somebody as big as Donald Trump. Okay, I see this a lot, and a lot of people don't know how to respond to the Trump University incident. And the simple response is that it is not a fraud. He's a big businessman, and it was selfless of him to choose to settle it instead of go to court, because he easily could have gone to court over that. And instead, he decided that being president and appointing his cabinet and focusing on duties for the American people is more important than $25 million. You know what I mean? So now, to you and I, $25 million may seem like a lot, but to somebody like Donald Trump, you know, settling it was probably a better idea. And that, you know, the customers were made whole, and he, not only that, but he also got to kind of put this behind him at the end of the day. This is not some kind of big fraud suit. He's not Bernie Madoff. Do not compare the two, okay? Any company that does as much revenue as Trump or does as much business as Trump can fall into that category. All you need to get is a lawyer that's looking for a big case and looking for a big payday, and a company that's unwilling to go to trial because they'd rather settle because it's easier for them. You know, this can happen to pretty much anybody who owns a big enough business. You see, liberals don't understand that for some reason. They want to point to the Trump University issue as if it's some kind of fraud. No, when you're as big as Donald Trump, you will have some lawsuits against you. You know, depending on what business that you're in. You know, I think the business of higher education, I feel like if most people could sue their alma mater, they would. If most people could sue their colleges for the lack of reward that they received after they received their degree, especially these students today, these kids today that expect handouts for free and expect everything for free without working for it, they would sue. If you could sue, if so many people would sue for the fact that their degrees did not get them the job that they wanted, it did not get them the income that they thought they were entitled to, if they could do it. You see, the only reason why people are doing it with Trump universities is because they can do it. You see what I'm saying? So that's all you got to look at. Okay, and not only that, the Attorney General Schneider has a personal beef with Trump. You know, so you got to look at that too. That's pretty much what it is. You got to look past all the distortions and the lies of the liberal media, because no matter what, they will try to paint Trump as a mean guy. They'll try to paint him as a fraudster, as a con man. But at the end of the day, he's just a big businessman. And even if you're a small or a mid-sized businessman, you will go through smaller versions of this. You will go through some lawsuits. You'll go through some civil suits. You'll go through some cases where people try to take what you've earned from you. It's just part of being a businessman. And Trump understands this, and he's been through this many times over before. But what you can't do is you can't allow liberals to convince you that what he did was criminal. There's nothing that he did was criminal. He promised a service. Some people were unhappy with that service, and some people were happy with that service, but later took away their good review so that they can get included on the payday that was promised to them by a litigious lawyer. That's it, and that's all that happened. Peace.